All right, let's dive into the absolutely incredible story of a visitor from another star system, one that showed up and basically broke all the rules we thought we knew. For the longest time, we kind of thought our solar system was this closed off, isolated box. We only ever studied what was in our own cosmic backyard. But now we know that's just not true. Objects that get kicked out of other star systems, these interstellar nomads, they pass right through our neighborhood all the time.
So, picture this, July 2025. Astronomers using the Atlas survey down in Chile spot something new. It gets the name 3 Eyes/Atlas, and it's only the third interstellar visitor we've ever confirmed. But this one was going to challenge pretty much everything they thought they knew about comets.
And here was the first giant clue that this thing wasn't from around here. Its speed. 61 kilometers per second. I mean, just let that sink in for a moment. That is over 130,000 miles per hour. It was, by far, the fastest object of its kind we'd ever seen. That kind of speed meant there was no way it was tied to our sun's gravity. It was just passing through.
Right from the get-go, 3 Eyes/Atlas was a mystery. It presented scientists with two massive puzzles about how it was behaving, and solving them meant rethinking the fundamental physics of how comets even work.
Okay, this is where it gets really weird. Images from Hubble showed it had this persistent anti-tail, a tail that was pointing directly towards the sun. Now that should be impossible. The solar wind, that stream of particles flowing out from the sun, is supposed to always push a comet's tail away from it. This defied all logic. So how on earth is that possible? Well, the solution turned out to be surprisingly cool. Just think of the comet's core, its nucleus, as a tiny spinning world. The day side that was facing the sun got superheated. This created a much stronger jet of gas, one powerful enough to blast bigger, heavier ice grains off the surface. Meanwhile, the colder night side could only manage to puff off smaller, wimpier grains.
And you can see the effect right here. Those bigger grains shot out towards the sun could survive way longer before they sublimated, that is, turned directly from solid ice into gas. They formed this huge cloud stretching thousands of kilometers toward the sun, completely outlasting the smaller grains getting pushed off the sides. And that's what created the mind-bending illusion of a tail pointing the wrong way.
So puzzle number 2 was its acceleration. It was speeding up in a way that the sun's gravity alone couldn't explain. Now, you might remember the first interstellar visitor, Oumuamua, did the same thing, but it had no visible gas coming off it, which was a huge mystery. 3 Atlas, though, was clearly an active comet. Its acceleration was a perfect match for the rocket effect. All that gas and dust blasting off its surface was giving it a tiny but very real push.
Okay, so with the weird physics sorted out, scientists pointed their biggest and best telescopes at the comet to figure out its chemical makeup. And what they found were even bigger surprises. They were getting a direct sample of the chemistry from a completely different solar system. Using the Very Large Telescope, they found something that made them do a double take: nickel vapor in the comet's atmosphere. This was a total shocker. Nickel is a metal, right? It needs incredibly high temperatures to turn into a gas. Yet they found it when the comet was way out near Jupiter's orbit, where it is absolutely freezing. And even weirder, no iron, which almost always comes packaged with nickel in objects from our solar system. So the lead suspect for this cold nickel mystery was this really exotic molecule called nickel tetracarbonyl. This stuff is super unstable. It forms in very cold places that are packed with carbon monoxide, and then it just falls apart in sunlight, releasing those nickel atoms. Its presence basically screams that 3 Eyes/Atlas came from a totally different kind of stellar nursery than our own. And just when you thought it couldn't get any stranger, the James Webb Space Telescope dropped another bombshell. It found that the comet's atmosphere was overwhelmingly dominated by carbon dioxide. We're talking 8 parts CO2 for every 1 part water. That is the complete opposite of comets from our solar system, which are basically dirty snowballs, mostly water ice. So let's recap. You've got an object moving at an impossible speed with a backward tail and a totally alien chemical cocktail. Well, it was pretty much inevitable that some people would start to wonder, was this thing really just a comet? And that speculation just exploded in late 2025. News reports, like this one, started flying around that a radio telescope had picked up a signal coming from the comet. For a moment there, the whole world kind of held its breath. But the scientific reality turned out to be a lot less dramatic. That so-called signal was just a well-understood, totally natural radio emission from hydroxyl molecules.
See, hydroxyl, or OH, is simply what you get when sunlight blasts water molecules apart. It's a classic signature of any active comet. A dedicated search for actual alien tech, looking for a sharp, narrow, artificial signal, found nothing but cosmic silence. So, in the end, every single weird thing that fueled that alien craft debate had a perfectly clear, scientific, and natural explanation. The comet wasn't breaking the laws of physics. It was just a fantastic opportunity to learn more about them.
So what does this all mean? What's the big takeaway? Well, the discovery of 3I/Atlas completes this fascinating trio of interstellar visitors. And what's so amazing is that each one has been totally different from the others, painting this picture of just how diverse our galaxy really is. Just look at this breakdown. It's wild. Our first visitor, Oumuamua, was a total enigma, a weird, inert rock that accelerated mysteriously. The second, Borisov, was actually pretty familiar. It looked a lot like one of our own comets. But Atlas? It was a beast of extremes, hyperactive, fueled by carbon dioxide, with that bizarre chemical signature and a speed that just blows the others away. And, a huge part of this story is how we were able to study it. This wasn't just one telescope squinting into the darkness. This was a full-on solar system-wide effort. NASA's Parker Solar Probe got a look as it zipped past the sun. Orbiters around Mars helped us pinpoint its location. It was a massive, coordinated campaign that really shows how far planetary science has come.
So in the end, no, it wasn't an alien ship, but what it was maybe just as valuable. It was a direct sample of the chemistry happening in a star system light years away, delivered right to our cosmic doorstep. It was a natural laboratory that forced us to get smarter about physics and how planets are made. Now, 3I/Atlas is heading back out into the void, and it's never coming back. But it leaves us with this really powerful reminder. Our solar system isn't some lonely island. It's just one stop in a vast, connected galaxy that's full of these wandering worlds. Its visit opened our eyes to what's possible, and it leaves all of us wondering, what secrets will the next interstellar messenger bring?